So, we're another segment here with Let's Jump. I'm Aaron from Cell Jump. We have here Pastor Roxanne, Pastor Paul, and I am super pleased to be speaking with them. You talk about someone that, or two people that, you know, been through it all and still got it together through the grace of God. Has a beautiful family. I'm really good friends with one of their daughters and have multiple businesses in two churches, I believe. Two churches, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Two churches. All right. So, um, Pastor Roxanne, Pastor Paul, let people know about you. Give them a little small, quick elevator pitch.
Okay. First of all, Aaron, we'd like to thank you for interviewing us. We do this from our heart because of who we are, what we've overcome, and where we've come from. So we're just excited to be here. We just to give you a little quick uh, snapshot about us is that I like to believe I believe in being stable, being established,
Mhm.
and being committed to what you do. And one of the things that tells a big story about us is number one, first and foremost, establishment and being stable is we've been married 29 years.
Mhm.
So that shows that we've been pastors for the same church for 20 years.
Mhm.
We've lived in the same city for all our life. So we don't move around. When we believe in something, we we're determined and ambitious to follow through. We don't. We talk a lot. We communicate, and then we come to a conclusion. So when you talk about our lives, I like to think about a life of commitment, of being stable, and being established in whatever we do.
Mhm.
Wow. I mean, 20. And me being married for, oh man, I hope my wife don't see this. Me being married for 11 years, 20 years, that's, that
29.
was, they're 29 and then being in ministry 20 years and all of that stuff. That's a long time to be doing something. So, what would you say that commitment comes from?
Well, 29 years, 1 month, 6 hours, and 48 seconds. Um, it comes from really our upbringing. My mom and dad have been married something like 45 years. Her mom and dad were married how long?
52.
52 years.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't
So,
know that.
so there were some good examples before us, and we're committed to follow those examples. Really good examples.
Yeah. No, I love that. Now, from what I know, Pastor Paul, you wasn't always a pastor, and you've had, some, I guess, what word best word I could use. Yeah,
I'll give you the name.
different time. It's a different time.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
um, can you walk us through that? How what happened when you were going through, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, it wasn't Pastor Paul, it was Penitentiary Paul.
Penitentiary Paul. So the Pastor Paul. So now there was a different PP. It's a
Yes,
different.
yeah.
Okay.
Prisoner Paul, Penitentiary Paul. Yeah, in my for about 18 years straight, I started hanging with the wrong crowd, uh, doing the wrong things. I got locked up, in and out for 18 years, incarcerated. Also, I got hooked on drugs. I was already drinking, and I thought that wasn't. I'm like, oh well, that's not bad. But then I started doing drugs, and I got addicted. I was addicted for almost 20 years to drugs and alcohol. And at that time, um, my wife and I, she'd had enough. She didn't have anything to do with drugs or alcohol or anything, but she had seen enough. I We lost our house, we lost our car. She would give me the money to pay the bills, and I would use it on drugs. Yeah, I'd always recover and do well, but finally got to the point where I couldn't recover anymore. So we did lose our house. They came and evicted us. We lost our car. We lost our I lost my job. And then she took off and with my kids and left. So that was a wake up call. Not once or twice. She left a few times till she finally said that I've had enough. The backbreaker was leaving us homeless.
Mhm.
Mm, wow. Wow. And I guess from your point of view, Pastor Roxanne, I mean, that's a big, just kind of pick up and leave that right there. Just it's a level of courage to even do something like that, and a level of seriousness to be like something has to change, right? So what was going through your mind, I guess, within that time period where you're like, yeah, enough is enough.
You know what was enough, Aaron, was she uh she threatened to leave, and I got a gun, and I held her at gunpoint, and they came in. Cops came and got slammed, busted the door. They came in helicopters, and so I was threatening her life. So now she can continue the rest.
Oh,
They, I feel like that was one of the turning points, but I feel that having my girls go through that, I
mm,
didn't want to see them go through that because I didn't go through that. But that was just one of the parts that he's saying. But I guess because he was so much into drugs and alcohol, he owed a lot of people money. So
mhm,
he owed the wrong people money, and they came to our house. Leg breakers came to our house with guns, sat my kids down, put guns to uh, pointed guns at my kids, and told me they were going to take everything. So they took everything that belonged to him, and I think that was the pointing guns at my head and threatening my kids' life was the
Turning
breaking
point.
point. Yeah, for sure that was it for me, and I didn't never wanted to go back to that. And I was I don't know, maybe 25 years old at the time, and I was pretty established on my own. I worked at the prison, I worked at the airlines, I had two jobs, and I said to myself I could do this without him because it was just not the life that I wanted my kids to grow up in, or the kind of lifestyle that I wanted to live.
right, right.
So decided from that point on that I was not going to put up with it. So um, I think I put a restraining order. I just said no more until maybe a year later when we started seeing each other. Then I decided I see a little bit of change in him, and I wanted my kids to be involved in that. But if there was no God or no church, there was not going to be us.
Right.
So it's been a struggle and lots of trials, but we're doing it together.
No, I love that. I love that. Wow, that's such an inspiration. I'm like, as soon as this is over, I'm just gonna like send this to my wife. And then the clip that you said, like I was just like, just keep repeating that, And you and my wife met before, so
Yes,
all right,
yes.
no, perfect, perfect. So you said without it wouldn't this thing wouldn't be here without God, right? That was the anchor, that was the glue that held it together and continued to allow it to grow where it is now. You know, so discovering that faith, and I think this is more for you, Pastor Paul. What did that journey look like for you from being, as you would say, the former PP prisoner Paul to now, Pastor Paul, and just for people that's watching this, it's not just like Pastor Paul, like, oh, he's a pastor. No, like, there's a well-respected man we're talking about. Like, the community loves this guy. Like, I'm all the way in a different state, and I love this guy. I look up to, but seriously, like, so, before they're like, oh no, it's just no, this man is definitely something remarkable. So how did you get to that?
Well, I think like most of us, we grew up in church, right? I
Mhm,
think the majority of people they grew up in church, and the Bible says that if you train up a child in the ways of the Lord, they will not depart. We
mhm,
depart, but we come back,
right,
and so in that aspect, I always had God. I was taught God. I heard the preachings and the teachings, but when it came to be 18, just went my own way. And so when the rubber met the road and she left, I was alone in a jail cell, and I just said, "Man, Lord, I'm tired. I'm tired of disappointing my wife, my mom and dad, my kids, and left them homeless. Gave my mom a heart attack. Was just, an anxiety attack, and just disappointing everybody.
mhm,
So I cried out to God, like I was taught when I was younger, but I didn't come right away. I came kicking, screaming. I went to I went through getting locked up. They took me to rehabs. They took me to different centers, and I always left. But the breaking point was when she left. I didn't know where she was. A little later on, I found out she moved to San Diego. But not knowing where my wife is and my kids, and being alone, I cried out to God, and I started going to church. When I got out, September 8th, 2003, 1 in the morning. That was it. I never looked back. And I went to church. I said, hey, I can help out around the yard. I had to keep busy because I had an addiction. So uh, the group, the church embraced me. I went back to Bible school. Uh, and I took courses and classes to be a counselor, first a recovery counselor with drugs and alcohol, and then a pastor, and that was the change right there. And I had 6 months. They told her that I changed, but she didn't believe it because I had changed for 6 months before. You know how we do it. And so a year went by, and finally she came back, and she saw how handsome and amazing this guy was.
Amen.
I love that. I love that. And it's crazy. I talk to Bray about this a lot, right? How we actually had this conversation where I was telling her the way that I explained it. Yeah, you heard of the Harlem Globetrotters? They do the trick shots and stuff like that. I'm like, God is like he's the best of the best when it comes to that. You think he's doing one thing, but he's doing another. And it's crazy, like listening to your story and how he actually used your entire journey to minister others that could possibly be going through that. And I think my question from that statement is, you know, your entire mission as a pastor, is it solely to, I guess, you know, minister to people that could possibly be going, not saying going through an addiction, but going through anything? What was that thought process when you're like, I'm going to go to Bible school, I'm going to get into ministry, I'm going to pastor others? What was that thought process?
It wasn't that at all. I just wanted to learn for knowledge
Mhm.
and information. I did not want to be a pastor. I don't want to. I have my own problems. I don't want to deal with anybody else's. I'm really trying to fix my marriage, much less trying to listen to other people. So I just did it all for my own knowledge and education. And as I was learning, when I was younger, I was a youth leader in my group. So I was always a leader. So now when I started taking courses, I said, hey, you know what? I just went through drugs and alcohol, and my wife just went through hell. And I think I'd be a good person to help people in their addiction and their problems. And my wife would be a good person to help the wives who were really what do you call them? Enablers or codependents.
Codependent.
And so I brought this part of it, the alcohol and the drug part of it. But anytime anybody quits drugs or alcohol, they always pat the person on the back that overcame alcohol or drugs or addiction. But what about the wife
Right.
who went through that hell, who had to get the second job, who had to uh, do it, be a husband and a wife for many years while I was missing? And that's where my wife complements and completes me of what I do, because we have a rule. I deal with the men, she deals with the women, and there's nobody that could speak to women better than she can. She's been there. She's been abused physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, spiritually. You name it. She has been through hell and back. So for her being who she is, uh, she's overcome a lot. And there's nobody that God would put me with in her who would you can read a book and you could be a psychologist and you could be a clinical this and a therapist and you could read, and that's helpful. But when you hear and you feel the tears of her and the pain that she went through, it takes one to know one.
Right.
And when they talk to my wife, they know that she's been through hell. And that just makes it a lot more meaningful and relative when you're talking to somebody. Hey, I'm talking to the guy to get healed. She's talking to the woman to get healed. Everybody forgets about the wife. I think that's why our church is so amazing, is because we don't leave out the wife.
Mhm.
You know, most churches, hey, good job, Paul. Boom, the wife's over there sitting over in the corner, like, what about me? You
Yeah.
know, and not that she said that, but yeah, but there's to any addiction, there's always a victim, and
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
the mom, the wife, and the kids, and we deal with that.
Mhm.
Wow. Wow. Ah, that's really interesting, man. Thank you for being super transparent with that, Pastor Paul. So, Pastor Roxanne, what, what your husband just said, all of that. Well, with your own words, what did your journey look like? You don't
My
have to elaborate like a whole lot, but just in short, what did your journey look like? What was going through your mind when all of this was happening? That you transitioning into where now you're minister, mothers, wives, sisters, people that been through this.
Begin.
I honestly, I didn't want anything to do with it. I just wanted to heal. I
Mm,
wanted to heal and just take care of my kids and take care of our families. But I think the fact that there's a lot more people, more women that are going through that what I went through and what we went through, it just inspired me to just do more. I'm more behind the scenes. I like to be more behind the scenes because I like to um, I don't like to be at the front line. I just want to be kind of in the background to help them like the way I was, because a lot of people feel like the pastor's wife just sit there and don't do anything, but not that's not how it is. It's really a team effort, and we're really a team effort. That's I think that's why we're so strong because it's what he went through made me stronger and made me put I know where my foundation is. I didn't know back then, but if I didn't have that strong foundation, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
love that. I love that. Man, you guys are like pulling at my heartstrings. I'm watching you guys and stuff. Like I'm just like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through that, seriously. But I think that's so incredible with you guys. That foundation, like you said, that foundation
Mhm.
that you guys can stand on, and you start building and building and building to where you guys not just have two churches, but multiple businesses, and very successful businesses. Then you have, you know, your daughters are very successful in the stuff that they do. So it's not just you guys; it trickled down into your children, which is amazing. So my question, can you share like a story or a time where, your faith directly influenced, tough business decisions or, where you guys are now?
You want to
Yes.
do that?
Well, we started going to church, and we became part of another. Hold on,
Sorry, our dogs came
my
home.
document. um, so we started a church with another gentleman, and I told him, okay, everywhere I went, Aaron, they made me a pastor because of my certification. I went and they're like, "Hey, you're a certified pastor. You know, you're really you guys are really successful in recovery, and recovery has more to do than just alcohol and drugs. It's
Yeah.
from depression, anxiety, lack, uh, failed marriages. You could throw anything into recovery. Anything is recovered, and so they made me a pastor in the middle of a service that was just singing and dancing, and the guy just stopped. He goes, "Man, come here," and he made us pastors. We didn't fill out an application. We didn't do it. We're like, "What the heck's happening? What's going on?"
Mhm.
So we did that for a couple of years. Then we moved. I went to uh, a fairgrounds, and there was a fair, and they were looking for people to help out to minister to the greeters I mean to the breeders and the jockeys, the groomsmen for the horses. And I was the only one that showed up. And he said, we've sent it out to about 200 churches. And when I got there, they said, well, you're the only one. We're going to make you the state chaplain. So they made me a chaplain. And I was a state certified chaplain. We went to another church, and then we just sat there because we left one church because they weren't seeing the vision that we had. So we moved on. and we went to another church, and same thing there.
Mhm.
They made us. We started bringing people, doing recovery program, and it built up the church there also. All glory goes to God, but I'm just saying we went there, and that grew. They ordained us there too. So everywhere we went, they were ordaining us. Finally, this guy goes, "Hey, let's start our old church, man. With people that have been through us, like us." I said, "All right, but I am not the pastor. You are." So he was this. We started in the backyard
Mhm.
20 years ago. He was a senior pastor, and I was cool. I mean, like, I loved it. 2 years down the road, you ever heard of a singer named Andre Crouch?
Mm-mm.
Okay, he was an amazing worship leader. He took off with Andre Crouch and left me to be pastor. He abandoned us. And I told the congregation was only about 30 or 40. I said, "You can find somebody because I'm not going to be the pastor. I'm sorry." And as I prayed, we literally both prayed like,
Yeah.
I don't want this to you. I don't want it either. So let's pray that either they find somebody or it fails. Because I mean, it sounds kind of sad, but every time we prayed, it grew. And every time we tried to run, it just grew. And now it's grown. We're not no mega church or anything by no means, but we finally said, man, I guess this is what we're supposed to do. And we did it.
Yeah, and we're doing it.
And wow, that's amazing, right? Because you said backyard. See, I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Mhm.
Go from a backyard to where I remember we were at a and this is what you, Pastor Roxanne, we were sitting eating at that Chinese spot. And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're about to open up another church. And I talked to Pastor Paul, and he's like, yeah, pray for me. We're about to open up another church. And then I talked to him again. He's like, we got the church. And I'm like, oh crap, that happened fast. So starting from a backyard to
Yes.
two churches. What kept you going through those? Because I'm sure it wasn't just like a cakewalk every single time. I'm sure there was no cakewalk whatsoever. So, like, what was that grounding mechanism that you guys used to persevere through those tough times? Because even I know in business, sometimes you wake up, you're like, I don't know how to keep doing this. Like, I just don't have it in me anymore. How do you guys battle through that?
You know what? One of the advice that I want to give to any business person that I found out is that my wife said, "Hey, there's a church over here. We're in the backyard." Then we went to a nightclub, a dance hall. Nobody would rent me a church because I had felonies, you know, and they're like, "No, I can't do that. I can't rent you my church. You have too many uh, felonies on you. You have too many charges." And so they saw that. They knew who I was. I came out of Crime Stoppers. There was a reward for me, and the whole town knew it, so they knew who I was. Big drug dealer, the whole works. You know what I mean? They're like, "No, we can't have you in our church." And so we moved from no church would rent me a church because of my criminal record.
Mhm.
And so my wife, she drives. She goes, "Babe, I bought a building. I believe we."
found.
Huh?
I dreamt. Can I say it?
Yeah.
So let me
Backtrack.
let me backtrack a little bit. So I had a dream
Mm-hmm.
about this building. And he's like, well, we can't afford it. We don't have the people. We don't. I go, no, I had a dream. And I just out of the blue, this old building that we had, it was an old building. It's been empty for 25 years.
Condemned.
It's been condemned for 25 years. So there was no sign, there was no nothing on there. But I jumped the fence, and I was looking through the window, and I kind of was snooping around, and I found a for sale sign that had been on the floor for over 20 years. I went and I Googled the people that own the building, and I went to that man's job, and I told him, you know what, I know that you probably think that I'm crazy, but I had a dream that you sold me this building. And long story short, he sold us the building, and that was a building that I dreamed about.
Oh, wait, she forgot to say that it was infested with homeless.
Yeah,
I
Really?
mean,
yes.
yes.
But
In your dream or like in
no,
reality?
no, not in my dream. But when we got there, the homeless had taken it over, and when I seen it, I didn't see that because it was in the daytime. So at nighttime they completely uh, gutted, right? They gutted the whole place. It was just mattresses and a bunch of stuff in there that didn't belong in there. But that's the dream that I had. It wasn't even a vision. It was an actual dream that felt so real that I knew that it was God, and this God that I knew was going to give me that building. And I didn't care if it was infested with anything. I just knew that we were gonna do a lot of work, and he was gonna bless us and turn it all around. And this building is in the hood. I'm like, Lord, are you sure? Because it's in the hood. And that's where our old church is at, and that's who we minister to. And we were happy there for.
Guess who helped us build the church?
Oh,
The homeless and the gang members.
Mm-hmm.
really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I don't know if you can see, but here's a picture right here.
No, you can't see it, babe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got it now.
You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's the finished product. They stole all the copper, all the wires.
Mhm.
There was poop in all the toilets, overfilled.
20
There
years
was
of it.
Heroin needles. There was when my wife said the Lord told me this, I'm like, God told me, I'm like, what God? It was bad. It was beyond bad. So we went and we knocked down all the walls. We went to the city. We marched from our church, about 100 of us. We went to the city. We went and for them to rezone it because it was not zoned for a church. And the city knows that I work with the drugs and we work with the homeless. And they rezoned it for us. They stood up. They give us a standing ovation, and then they give us the permits to build, and we build it. And the people came.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot right there.
Oh, one more. The owner, we tried to get a bank loan and we couldn't get it. And we told the owner we're going to get a loan, and they wouldn't give it to us because a commercial loan is different than a regular loan. They're like, you've never been in business. We're not going to loan you money. So we went to the owner. We said, we're sorry, we can't buy it. They're not going to give us a loan. And just like a robot, this guy is of Arab descent, right? He's Sikh. Like a robot, he said, don't worry, I carry your loan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so we didn't go through a bank. We didn't do anything but pay him monthly payments.
Yeah, he carried our loan. Mm-hmm. That's all God.
Yeah.
So we moved in faith.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. See, I did not know that about that part. That's interesting, actually. That's interesting. Yeah, so things were just happening, just making a way after way after way after way.
So
Again,
fast forward to today. Uh, we were building and we were constructing. We poured concrete because we don't fit. I mean, it fits 200, and it was just packed out every week. And so I said, we need $15,000. We need to pour concrete and we need to put beams up. So the people gave. Boom, Pastor, 3, 2. I'll put 1,000. I'll put 500. And everybody gave. And we put the concrete and we put the beams. We were about to put the framing when the sale of this church came. And so one of my guys, he said, hey, Pastor Paul, there's a church and we don't fit here. It has a kitchen. It has a dining room that fits 200. It has 12 classrooms. It's like a little preschool.
really?
And that church fits 400, double. And so we put our name, we put our credit, and it went through, but only for 65% of the loan. So that they were asking 675, 700,000. And I told them, hey, we'll offer 5, and they didn't take it. So when 5 months go by and they called me, they said, we'll take the 5. And so when they took the 5, the bank only gave us 325. Another gentleman that we do not know, but the real estate guy knows, he goes, hey man, he'll give it to you, but 20% hard money loan. I said, I'll take it. We want the church. It snagged. The bank said, no, we're not going to put him on the loan. He said, well, I need to be on the loan. I'm not going to lend you the 175. Negotiations fell off. We're not going to get the church. About 3 days go by. That guy calls up and he says, you know what? Forget about the bank. He goes, I want to fund you the whole amount.
The Lord put it in his heart.
The Lord put it in my heart. I don't even know you, but I'm going to buy the church for you and you pay me.
Yeah.
Again.
Really?
Complete
Yes.
stranger.
Well, he said that he did his homework on us, and
That's right.
he believed, just like the city manager believes in us,
Mayor.
the mayor believes in us, he believes in us, and for most, we believe in God. So he
Yeah.
said, I don't know why I'm doing this, but the Lord put it in my heart to do this for you guys.
That's amazing.
It is. It's an amazing story.
Wow.
God still does miracles.
Always,
Yes.
always.
Yes.
My gosh, that is. I was not expecting that one. That one got me right there. Wasn't expecting that one. Wow, that's so interesting. So, question: how many people do you guys have in your congregation right now, like in total?
Well, like I said, we're running 180, almost 200 in the other one. And when we moved, I said, okay, well, it's going to take a while to fill that up, right? At the new church.
Yeah.
We unexpectedly, that guy came in and bought the building for us, signed the paperwork on a Friday. Sunday was Easter Sunday. And we said, the carpet needs work, the plumbing's not well, the roof, it needs so many things, but it's ours. And I got outvoted. I said, let's fix all this stuff, then we'll move in. And the entire congregation went against me. They're like, we want to move in no matter how it looks. And I said, are you guys serious? We were like in tears. They're like, let's go, Pastor, let's do it. We'll invite all our friends and family. So Easter Sunday, we had well over 400 people, and it was packed.
And it's still the same amount.
And it has not gone down.
Yeah.
So now we need to buy a new building that we just bought.
Don't say that.
But the millionaire that bought us the building, he said, we need to find you another building.
Yeah. We're outgrowing this one already.
We outgrew it.
That's great.
And all the costs, the plumbing, good $5,000 donated. The floors that were torn up and messed up, donated. The yard work that was horrendous, donated. The trees that were all leaves everywhere, donated. The AC units that were messed up. We have an AC. Our pastor's an AC guy. He fixed 3 of the broken ones, and the other one that's completely failed, we're going to get it from the other church and bring it over here. So really at a minimal cost, our people came together and did the yard, cut the trees, did the AC, fixed the plumbing, the whole works.
I wanted to say something about that. I think that the people, to be honest, I think that because we do so much for the community, people believe in us, and they rather have the kids off the streets and for us to help them. So they're believing in us, and they know that we can help them. So that's why they're doing it. They're doing it to help the Sanger community, because they know that we come together and we help the families.
Yeah.
And I think that's the number one thing, that the people believe in us.
We fed over through the food bank. We fed over 750,000 people, well over 500,000. We have drug classes, we have alcohol classes, anger management, we have marriage classes, we have community service. Whatever you need, we are the hub. We have rehab classes. We have completely free rehabilitation homes. So we had a community service guy that the parents are very well off, and the son had to do community service. Well, he finished his hours, and I was able to. We talked to them. They come and do community service, but at the same time, we minister to them. Well, he cleaned up, and they're like, "Well, the agency called Hands On to Fresno. They go through the courts." They said, "What's going on over there? Everybody we're sending there, they're making phone calls. They're calling us that they changed. They're going to your church now." And so we needed $5,000 to move that building, and we collected 20. We needed 25. Well, one of the parents came to thank us for what we did to their son, because he's changed now. And we said, okay, we need $5,000. And she's an Anglo lady. Her name is Lori and Eric, the parents, and the son's Cameron. They picked up their hands. It's like, we'll give the last 5,000. Let's move. And we're going to make this our church. And they did. And they gave us the money, and that helped us move.
Yeah.
Wow, that's man. It just gets more interesting. I'll say. I feel like I don't have enough questions for you guys. I feel like I just want to know at this point. Maybe I need to just come out there and let's just have a,
You had to come
a bite
visit,
to
bring your
eat and
family.
we go through the full story.
Yes.
So on family, because I know you guys are very big on family, and I know
Mhm.
this person for being really good friends with one of your daughters, right? And working with her very closely, and I see it. Uh, and then also what you're doing in the community with families, you know, at the level of success you guys are at, right? And how you guys moved from, again, backyard to two churches, right? And still looking to grow from one business to multiple businesses, how, and as a father of three and a mother of three, me being a father of three little girls, how did you remain present within all of that? How were you able to be there for others and for your own family?
I think the foundation. I like to say build and fight. Whenever we're going through our own struggles, we like to fight God sometimes, or we have to build fight with one hand and build with the other. And that's what we decided that we were going to do. We can't we can't take the focus off of God. I can't look to the left or look to the right. I got to stay focused, because if I don't, I will fail. And I'm not a failure. And success is very important to me, not just in in business, but my walk with God is very important.
So believe it or not, we put our daughters in sports. They all play sports, uh, basketball, softball, soccer, and even though we're pastors, there was not one soccer practice that we missed
Yeah,
or one game.
very involved.
Matter of fact, I was the head coach many times of my daughters, and at Bree, they were looking at her for basketball over at Northwest University. She tore ACL.
Mm.
Hmm.
Jay, they looked at her at San Francisco State for softball, but she wanted. Bree was suffering from seizures because she donated a kidney. And when we dropped off Bree for school, which is the LA Music School of Arts, Jay just said, "Dad, she just graduated like a month. She goes, Dad, I'm gonna stay with Bree." I'm like, "What? You don't have a choice." She goes, "I'm 18." She goes, I can't leave Bree," and that's how they stayed together
Yes.
because Bree needed somebody to take care. And she's had so many seizures, Bree, and Jay's always there to help her in her seizures. Or Bree is, she doesn't say anything, but Jay was really unselfish, didn't go to school, so she could take care of her sister.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. All
And
right.
so
The
the
next question.
coaching, excuse me, the coaching and the practices and the games is what helped us to be part of their lives as they were Christians.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. Yeah. It's funny too. I asked Bree one time, and I was like, "Your older sister is still out there, right?" She's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, how did Jay come with you?" I'm like, "What?" Like she just. I thought you guys did move as a unit. You like wanted to leave. Jay was like, "I'll tag along," but that was the reason. So okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That makes sense. I know Bree's probably gonna look at this and be like, "Oh, they gave the secret away." So okay, that's interesting. So I mean, and as parents, myself being a parent of three little girls, you know, and I guess this is more for me right here. What are some key values, you know, and lessons that you guys, I guess, instill in your daughters at an early age, and you still try to do that now?
um, First and foremost, God has to be the center of everything. Your thinking, your every move, he has to be the center of whatever you do. Whatever else comes along the way is just a plus, but the Lord comes first, most and foremost. And that's just a value that we've learned, that if we try to get away from God, we ran from God, it just doesn't work out. it does not work out for us. It doesn't work out correctly, and it's not going to work. We like to tell people that I don't want to serve God. I don't want to do this. I'm going to getting attacked. You're going to get attacked anyway. You might as well serve God. So that's our center and our right, babe. Like our There's no other way. I can't say anything else, but God has to be the center. And the girls know that. It wasn't like we didn't make our kids go to church. They just knew they had to. It's just it becomes you, and they knew we. I think we made it pretty fun for them to come and Bree's a worship leader. Kiana is a worship leader. Jay plays drums. She's the only one that's really not too much in ministry, but they all do ministry. So we keep them involved.
And one of the key values that we do is if they didn't like soccer, giving up is not an option.
Yeah, it's not an option.
Not with me. Give it your all. Show up to every practice. And do your best. Quitting is not an option. Laying on the couch is not an option. Watching TV all day is not an option. Every time, okay, we got them a car when they were all sophomores. They all had their own car. Not brand new, but they had cars. In order to keep up your grades, do your chores, cook, clean, and do what you need to do. After that, when they finished school, they had to work and or go to school.
Yeah.
Staying on the couch, like I said, that's not an option.
Yeah.
They had to be determined. Anything they started, we made them finish.
Yeah.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Like looking at knowing Bree, right? And just how she is. When I first met Bree, I was pretty much training her, right? In a whole different aspect of the industry that we're in. And she will always tell me, literally, I'll listen to a call, she'll go, Aaron, don't tell me what I did good. Tell me what I did bad so I can learn. And she's like, it's okay, you could be hard on me. And I'm like, all right, this is a whole different kind of person, but cool. And that mentality that she has, and I just want to let you guys know this, that girl works at a very, very high level. She scares me at a point, like she scares me sometimes, like, whoa, like, how are you doing this? How? Works at a very high level to the point where I'm like, you can take time for yourself. Like, it's okay to have personal days. And it makes sense on why she's like that now. Okay. And even Sammy will look at this like, it makes sense on why she's like this. Okay.
Aaron, when
there's no
Bree, when she got her first job, she applied for McDonald's in school.
15.
Like 16 years old with a permit. That's the only way you can work. And she's just smiling. And she said, she comes and I'm like, what happened, babe? She goes, I got the job. I go, what happened? She goes, I don't know. I just smiled and they gave me the job. I go, what? He goes, what did he say? What did the guy say? He goes, I don't know. You're just infectious. And there's no way that I cannot have you on my team.
Yeah.
We're like, what? There's no way. Did he think you were cute or what? I mean, is he a pervert? That's what I thought. I'm like, what? She goes, no, Dad. I just smiled and he said, you know what? You got the job. Okay. Fast forward. She goes, Dad, I'm going to apply for LA Music School of Arts. It's $17,000 a semester. I go, Bree, that's a lot of money. And she's like, it's okay, Dad. God will provide. I'm like, I'm a pastor, right? I'm like, I'm going to try for it, babe, knowing she's not going to get it. She got it.
Yeah.
And so she gets the job, and all of a sudden, my mom takes her to go find an apartment. Same thing. She goes, Grandma, my stomach hurts because of the kidney operation. The guy turns around. He goes, excuse me, your kidney hurts? She goes, yeah, I'm a kidney donor. My mom told her she's a kidney donor. He goes, you know that my daughter was saved by a kidney donor? You're a hero. He goes, what are you here for? He goes, to find a job. He goes, you got the job. Gave her, and Bree being Bree, can you hire my sister too? And they both got good jobs at Ralph's with the union. And so they got jobs. And not only that, she's like,
sorry.
Not only that, She's like, Dad, it's 17,000. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to get a loan. The guy from Ralph's goes over there and says, how you doing, Bree? She goes, good. He goes, I'm in school, but I gotta pay the rest and blah, blah, blah. He goes, you know what? We give scholarships to people that give to the community, and you giving your kidney is something that's is worthy of a donation. We're gonna pay your first year of school, and they paid it. The next semester, she's in school, and the school, and I'm like, man, how am I gonna come up with it now? The school says, you know, Bree, you exemplify service to the community. You save somebody's life. We're gonna pay your next semester, and they paid it.
She trusted
Her
God.
car broke down. And I put on Facebook, if it's not one thing, it's another. My daughter Bree's car broke down. A car dealer from Fresno comes in and goes, you know what? We're really inspired by your daughter. We saw the story that she gave her kidney. We want to give her a car free.
Mhm.
So she got a free car.
Yeah.
So you have somebody on your team that has, yeah, you know what the word the favor of God means?
Mhm. Yes.
So the favor of God is all over her.
Yes.
And anybody who's associated or attached to her
Blessed for
is
sure.
blessed. So you better get ready because your business is about to boom like
Yes.
never before. You have a young lady that is determined, ambitious, and on top of that has the blessing and the favor of God.
Mhm.
And you have she's an asset to your company, and you better get ready to grow because that's all you're gonna do is grow.
Yes.
I do believe that. I do believe that with Brie. It's funny because I was talking to Sammy one time, and this is where Brie actually took like a personal week. And it was for obvious reasons that you guys know of, right? Family reasons from the recent incident with Pastor Rudy and stuff like that. And me and Sammy was talking. We're talking about one of the offers, just how it started and everything. And I'm like, man, I'm glad we got a Brie. Like, is Brie's like the secret tool. Like, we got a Brie, you know? You know, we got an army. We got a Brie. Brie's like the glue. When she's not in for a week, you kind of notice. You notice. It's like that. It's kind of quiet in here. It's kind of dead. Then she come back and then things start happening. And this is real. Like this is real. So, oh, I know. I see it because we have a Brie.
We
You
have
know.
agree.
No, and
And
I love you, doing like a sister. Seriously, I tell her that. I'm like, Brie, man. Sometimes you annoy me like a sister, but I love you. I do. And sometimes, man, I'm like little sister. You just, but no, we have fun. So I don't want to keep you guys forever, but
Mhm.
for the people that's watching, and I'm having such a great freaking time. I'm not even, I can keep doing this all night, right?
Mhm.
But for the people that's watching, and that are inspired by what you guys are saying, your story, your journey. If you had one profound piece of advice about faith, family, and business, what would it be for them?
Mhm. Faith, family, and business.
I think they're all connected. If
Good answer. That's a good answer.
they're all connected. If you're being a family man, coming from a family like where Bree's coming from, like you said, it gives you core values, and the core value is believing in God. If you can believe in God, and then you find a group of people that believe in you, and then uh, after that comes the business because God comes first. I made a mistake. I'm going to end right here, Aaron, but I made the mistake about 6 years ago as a pastor when we were building that building, the homeless building, putting a lot of time into that building and really neglecting my wife,
Mhm.
neglecting my kids. I was building the building, but I neglected building my wife. I was so consumed with making
Yeah.
that ugly building look good. She's like, let's go to Hobby Lobby. I'm like, no, I can't. I got to work on the electrical. Let's go to Hobby Lobby. I can't. I got to work on the carpet. Let's go to Hobby Lobby. Or movies. I can't. I got to work on the
Mhm.
on whatever. And I got so consumed with building the building that I forgot to build my family and my wife and her needs. So she told me, first I lost you to drugs. Now I lost you to that building. She went in and we were going to buy a house and it didn't go through. We went through a depression where The house didn't go through. We got rid of our other house. It was going to go through. We were already living there. We already the guy gave us the keys. Said, you know what? There's a lien on that house, and you can't have it because the wife and the husband got divorced, and he took a secret loan out. So they evicted us. I had to move to my mom's. She moved to her mom's, and it was so easy that we stopped doing things together. Well, 6 short years ago, 7 now, Aaron.
Mhm,
Uh, she said, I want a divorce.
mhm,
And as pastors, uh, we were going through a separation and a divorce. Totally my fault. I always, our church grew to 400. I got on a high horse. I thought me, and I neglected her. And our church split. We fell. She gave me papers for a divorce. I had to step back and I had to stand in front of the church and say, you know what, I haven't been the pastor you needed. I haven't been the husband, more importantly, that my wife needed and my kids. And I have to step away and reevaluate myself and examine myself. And I need counseling. A lot of people left. We stayed with practically nothing, 30, 40 people. Uh, and Roxanne might herself through the depression
mhm,
she had to take
mm.
medications and suicidal thoughts. You know what I mean? Just we're just a mess. We stepped back. We went to counseling. We needed healing, and we got we believed in each other. We talked. We went through reconciliation classes, counseling, and we got back together. And so now I'm very careful not to put business before. So you're talking about family, faith, and business. It's really that order. You know, I mean,
Faith.
faith, family, then business. Because if you put money, what good is the money if I don't have her to share it with?
Right.
What good is the journey if the person who helped you get there doesn't finish it with you? I was very much humbled, very much I got checked. And so we now every year, once a year, we went to Miami 5 years ago. We went to Texas to watch the Cowboys, the best team in the world. And then we went to Hawaii.
Mhm.
We
We
went
take
on
trips.
a cruise, and we take
Long
trips.
story short, we take
Yeah,
trips.
we take trips. So what I'm saying is, yeah, and now our church went from 30 after COVID to what it is now. But we had to go through the storm. And see, weathering the storm is what makes you stronger and what makes you appreciate life more, you know. And now, uh, guess where I go all the time? Hobby Lobby.
It's a must now. Divorce is not an option.
No.
That's what we've learned. It's not an option. We got to communicate more.
And valuing your wife is very important. I prayed for an assistant pastor for years and I never got one. And my wife would give me advice, and I was like, that's cool, but you know, that's not what I'm looking for. Finally, this guy came to our church and he started giving me advice, and our church grew big. The numbers, all the advice was great. And I said, man, I said, babe, there's this guy right here, man. He's giving me advice, and we grew. And I was so happy. And she goes, you idiot. She goes, you never listened to me, so I told him to give you the advice. So
Listen to your wife.
listen to your wife, Aaron, is what I'm saying.
Oh, no. Wow. 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 This was inspiration. Man, I'm so glad I did this. So glad. As soon as I'm done, I'm like text Brie like, yo, your parents. I need to trade. We need to trade. You know. Now, remember, Pastor Roxanne, what you said in Pennsylvania. You said Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I told you, bring your family.
Okay. So
Yeah,
you
you
heard
bring
that,
them.
Pastor Paul, right?
Yeah, I told him. He knows you guys got to come for Thanksgiving.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. No. Anything you guys want to end it off with? Man, I was My gosh.
Yes.
This.
One more thing, Aaron.
What?
The house we lost. The house we lost.
Mm-hmm.
This one right here. Just like the way she doesn't give up or take no for an answer. Is driving around and the house is on sale. We got it back.
Yeah, this is the house we live in.
Really?
God, God
Her dream
honored
house.
it. Yeah. Yes, God honored it.
Wow. Wow.
Somebody bought it. What do you call that? They flipped it,
Yeah.
fixed
Yeah.
it, and put it for sale, and then we got it.
So that's where we're at now.
Yeah, right.
That is amazing. My God. Oh, wow. Wow. I'm at a loss for words with you guys. Let me just be honest. I don't know. I don't know if I'm jealous or like I don't know how to feel right now. I got mixed emotions, but man, no, it's just, seriously, it's a pleasure speaking with you guys today. And I'm glad that you guys sat down and was able to do this with me. It was an honor. And again, like I said, I will be there. Okay.
Okay, bring your
I
family.
will
Yes.
be there. I will be there. And I like to eat. So
All right.
Good. So does he.
they think, well, there you go, Pastor Paul. Let's get
Oh,
this.
you'll eat a lot of Mexican food.
Yeah.
I'm down. My wife loves Mexican food, by the way. Like absolutely loves Mexican food.
Okay.
So yeah, but no, it was a pleasure. Thank you for being here. And let's continue. This concludes our time at Let's Jump. All right, guys.
All right. Thank you for having us. Have a great day.
God bless you.